Alright boys, welcome back to the channel. So the event has just started today, the Call of the Dragon. So I'm just going to go over how I would suggest people grind it and some lineups to go with as well. Now to start us off, if we take a quick look at the actual specifications for the thing, if we go into here, go into the Call of the Dragon and then go into the tasks. Everyone knows what we're doing here really. We've got to get 45,000 mission points over the space of 2 days. And that will last for about, I think it's 10 days or 18 days, something like that. But what's really important to know is that if you look here, it says multiplier, ground RB is 1.33, simulator battles is 1.8, and arcade battles is 0.93. This means it's going to be quickest to grind this out in simulator because you're going to get basically 2 times the mission score. So if you get 1000 mission score in a game, in ground simulator battles you'll get 1800 towards the 45,000. That being said, ground simulator battles is very hit and miss because you can't actually just search for what vehicle you want to play. You have to basically go into here and hope that you've got a lineup ready, like I have my Soviet lineup. So it's not particularly convenient for the everyday player to actually do simulator. So I'm guessing most people are going to be playing ground realistic. Like a lot of previous events as well, we also have a multiplier by the vehicle rank, so these things stack. So if you play a vehicle from rank 1 to 3, it is 0.8 multiplier, 4 is 0.9, 5 is 1.0, 6 is 1.1, and 7 and 8 are combined as 1.2. So technically, if you wanted to grind this event as fast as possible, you'd play top tier tanks in simulator. That'd give you like a ridiculously high multiplier. You'd probably only need to get like 15,000 or 20,000 mission score. But for ground RB, as I said, most people are probably going to be playing this game mode. So I'd recommend, recommend rank 5 and upwards for skilled players. But in general, you should stick to whatever makes you happy. I really like the low tier Swedish lineup, for example, which is rank 3. While it will give you less a kill at rank 3 is going to be less mission score compared to a kill at rank 8. But I find it's easy to play at lower levels and I don't feel like game ending myself, to put it politely. Anyway, so let's go over some lineups, and bear in mind, I'm not an expert, shall we say. This is just my opinion. You can see down here that I have got some pretty decent lineups. So America 3.3 is pretty good. This thing is absolutely insane now. Not many people know this, but you can take 3,000 bombs or 3 tiny Tims if you're very, very accurate. They added the creator class, I guess, to it. It's a very, very good cash point now. Not many people really know about that. 3.3 isn't that great. You do get the OEM 4A1s. But apart from that, the 4.0 American is also pretty good. That's in rank, well, the Calliope is in rank 3. It's a little lonely, actually. Most of the vehicles are in rank 2. America again at 6.7. It's pretty decent. You do get all the premium spam here, which is really, really good. I used to be a pay-to-win monster, as you can see. I think I have swapped out some tanks. You get the CE. I don't think you can actually buy that anymore. The Tiger. So 6.3 to 7.0 is very good for the Americans. You get this thing. It's very, well, it's not very over battle rating, but it's a bit funny how this and the King Tiger are the same. So 6.3 to 7.0 America is pretty good. Another shining lineup is the 8.3 American. You got the Bradley, the Sheridan, the Starship, and then the M901. If you have this is very good on certain maps. This thing isn't that great, but you also have some of this stabilized M6s as well. After that, I'd say the 10.3 American lineup is pretty good. I'd say this is the last decent lineup in the American tech tree. The AGS has recently been put up to 11.0, sorry, which did kind of ruin the 10.3 lineup because this thing was very, very good at 10.3. You get a lot of good tanks, as well as the M1 KVT, the AMBT, the Bradley A3, the Tram, and the Lavad. Very, very good lineup. I would definitely stay well clear of top tier America at the minute. This is absolutely I can't really say pejorative anymore because I get cancelled on Twitter, but this thing is incredibly bad, not very fun. The Germans, everyone knows the German tech tree. You can basically pick any lineup here and you're going to have some decent tanks to play in. Excuse me. I personally like the 6.7 or 7.0. I am lucky enough to have the removed Panther 2 and Tiger 2 105. So 6.7 to 7.0, very good for the Germans. Again, 8.3 with the Term 3, this thing's borderline overpowered. You also get the DF 105, which I haven't unlocked yet, as well as this thing, the Rocket and Notomat. This thing is seems to be played a lot. Apart from that, 9.3 is arguably a good lineup with the 105, the 1A5 and the A1A1, as well as the Tiger 2, the Tam 2 IP Premium, and the Leopard A1A1L44. The only problem with 9.3 is, of course, you get dragged up to 10.3, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass. Which brings us on to the next lineup, which would be the 10.3. You got the Premium, you got the Vilcast, the 2A4. So a few players may already have these vehicles, which can allow you to get some sort of mission score at a higher battle rating. You also get the 2A4, the 2K, the Radkampf Wagon. Tam 2C is not the best. Puma is pretty bad as well. Ocelot, fantastic. 1A2, fantastic. Top tier Germany is probably one of the best two in the game. The Swedish, Germans, and the Soviets are probably the best top tier lineups if you want to play top tier. As you can see, I've not been doing the best in terms of Silver Lions because I've been purchasing a lot of top tier crews. Anyway though, this is my sim lineup. But the Russians are one of the vehicles where you have a pretty good low tier lineup as well. I'd say the 3.7 Soviet and the 3.7 Swedish are the best low tier lineups in the game. You can take along the meme vehicles if you really want to. Not sure why this is 4.0 considering it's incredibly hard to aim. You can make it work, I guess. You also get this thing which I haven't unlocked yet. Very, very strong SBA in the 3.7 lineup. But you have, I think this is very rare, maybe rare. You might not be able to get that. We've still got some very good vehicles as well. I think that's a rare, this is pretty rare lineup actually. I'd say the best grinding lineup for the Soviets though, if you want to stick to low tier, is going to be the 4.7 lineup, which is a bit empty at the minute. I must have changed some things around, but you have the, maybe you could up tier it to 5.0 with the KV85. This thing used to be 4.7 and it was absolute monster. For the T3457, as well as a premium one, if you have it, very, very good tank. Can still penetrate Tigers very easily if you get the flat armor. So 4.7 is very good. Good lineup, good cast as well with the Tismar, if you're lucky enough to own that as well. 5.7 to 7.0 for the Soviets is a little bit hit and miss. They tend to have quite slow firing guns regardless of them being high power. Russia doesn't tend to be that meta between 5.7 to 7.0. After that though, again, it's a little bit hit and miss to be honest. I'd skip the 8.0 grind for the Soviets. They're kind of unremarkable, kind of lacking gun stabilizers, and still using relatively low pen guns, which makes it quite hard for inexperienced players. Like the I guess the Americans kind of, where they have an 8.3 lineup, the Soviets have an 8.7. The T55 AM1 is a very, very good tank still. I'd still probably take it over the T72 AV terms. 8.7 lineup as well for the Soviets is incredibly good. The 279 has been increased in battle rating, but we still have the Sturm, very, very strong. You can use it as a makeshift SPAA as well. The IT-1, very strong. You can fire it on the move with its stabilized missile. The Object 685 and the BMP-2 give you pretty decent mobility and firepower. T10M, not as good as it used to be, but still very strong gun. It's just a shame about the recoil. And the T62, very powerful main gun round, but very long, 10-second reload. Not really the best. Apart from that, you then have the 10.0 lineup, which is going to be made even stronger by the Object 292 coming in this event. You have the Terms, the Cancer Mobile, and the even bigger Cancer Mobile, I guess. Chrysanthemum is incredibly good as well. Very, very underrated tank. Sprut just got the 3BM60 round, incredibly good, and 3rd gen thermals at 10.0. Insanely good vehicle. The T72Bs, they're alright, but I wouldn't take them over something like the Terms or the Sprut. I wouldn't say it's worth going up to 10.3 for the T80B. Just stick at 10.0 and it'll generally do you pretty well. Top tier, Russia, it's one of the best in the game at the minute. Good balance between firepower, armor, and mobility. T90M isn't as good as the T80BV in my opinion, but it still gets the job done. Ooh, the British, ooh. Where to start? pretty good, to be honest. At low tier, you've got very fast-firing, high-penetration guns. Not the best post-pen damage, but it certainly gets the job done. 2.7, 3.3, very good lineups, especially with the Achilles. Quite a long-range tank, but it's still good. Battle rating 4.7, again, a staple lineup in the British territory. You've got the Crocodile, the... can't remember how to pronounce this in Polish, the Trinets, something like that. 4.7 Britain, very good. After that, I guess it's 5.3 isn't what it used to be. 7.7 is pretty good though, with the Action 10 and the 8. Well, I can't get that anymore. Well, that's what I'm looking for, the Centurion Mark 5.1, if you still have it. As well as the Tech Tree Centurions, as well as the Carnarvon and the Conqueror. Absolute Giga Chad tank, the Conqueror. For some reason, this thing has more penetration than most top tier guns. 487 millimeters of pen at 7.7, insanely good. 8.7 and 8.3, very strong lineup for the British, and you get a lot of games quickly, to be honest, because a lot of people are playing around that 8.3 to 9.0 mark. So the Vickers, the premium Vickers is good as well. The ZA35 Marksman, both Chieftains are pretty decent. I'd skip the 9.3 lineup. I'd go straight for 10.3. Like the Americans, the 10.3 British lineup is incredibly good. You've got the Challenger Mark III, the Challenger DS Premium, which for some reason doesn't get L26, but I've already molded about that in one of my other videos. The TTD is pretty good, despite only having a 105. Stormer HVM, not great at all against planes, but very good against helicopters. Vickers Mark 7, which does get L26. And yeah, 10.3 is pretty good. Top tier Britain is a little bit hit and miss. All these two are pretty bad. Challenger 2 is alright. Challenger Black Knight's pretty decent, but it's got a gimmick. Challenger 2E, again, better engine. Challenger 3, very good though. I would recommend this. But for top tier Britain, it's not the best of experiences, so I'd stay clear of top tier. Okay, so the Japanese, quite a small tech tree to be honest. 4.3 with the Chinu 2 Premium, it's very good if you still have it. This thing has got a much more powerful gun than the regular Chinus. I would typically stay around 6.3 maybe, or 6.0 if you're lucky enough to have the Japanese Tiger. Goes well with the Type 75 self-propelled gun, as well as the Walker Bulldog in the Japanese tech tree. 6.7 is also pretty good. I think this tank is the one that gets an autoloader system in the back of it. I haven't unlocked, I haven't grinded these things, as you can see. This thing does get a first stage ammo storage. I think it's a, yeah, automatic reload of 6 seconds. It's a very, very good tank. 6.7 is very good for the Japanese lineup. It's also quite a staple of many other tech trees in the game, so again, you can find games pretty easily. 7.7 to 8.7, well, 7.7 to about 11.0 really for the Japanese is very rough. None of these tanks are that particularly good, to be honest. The battle rating 9.0, I guess, can be played with these two. The Type 74s are pretty awful, to be honest. The Premium G is alright, because that's the only one that gets... I think this is the only one that gets Premium, but it also gets the DM33 equivalent. 11.0 lineup is a very undersung lineup for the Japanese. You have the TKX prototype, the T90B and the T90A. You also have these highly mobile wheel tanks, which are pretty much, well, I guess not timeless, but battle ratingless, I guess. You can play these at top tier and still have a very good game. The Type 81 is also battle rating 11.0, so you can also use it at this rating. You also have pretty good CAS as well if you have the Japanese Apache, which I don't. But you can still rely on the F4EJ car, or F4EJ Phantom, sorry, or the ADTW if you have that. Top tier Japan is equally as good in my opinion. You have the TKX and the Type 10, both fantastic vehicles. You are a little bit lacking, both in terms of backups. You can still use the Type 90s. They still have DM33 with a 4-second reload, which is more than good enough in my opinion as a backup. There's a little bit lacking in CAS, CAS, anti-aircraft vehicles, and general like light tanks mobility. But top tier Japan is pretty decent. Not really a very well played nation though. Next up, the Chinese, bloody hell. 5.7 again, it is a staple unlike many other nations. So you have the T-34-85. You also get these two T-34-85s. This thing has I believe it's a 50 cal on the roof, which just gives you a little bit more firepower, makes you look a little bit cooler. You can also get the 6.3 lineup, which I don't really rate that highly. You do get the IS-2s. Again, a lot of firepower, but very long reload. I generally skip it. The WZ-305 is a fantastic vehicle, though. If you have the ZTZ-59, these two go very well together. I'd also use this thing at 8.3 as well. The Chinese is a nation which kind of got killed recently by battle rating increases. All of like the vehicles here just got like bumped up by one battle rating. 8.7 and 8.3 used to be fantastic for the Chinese, but it kind of got all moved up to 9.0 now, which I guess is where I'd recommend people play. It does mean you can get up to 10.0 though, but seeing as most people are playing 10.3, you can get away with it most of the time. You have stuff like the AFT 109, the Premium 301, and the PL2 actually. No, M60s are never that good. As you can see, I don't have these unlocked, but it's still pretty decent. One of the unsung heroes of War Thunder, and especially in the Chinese tech tree, is the 10.7 Chinese lineup. You have the MBT 2000, as well as the two ZTZ 99, 2 and 3. These things are both incredibly good tanks. They've got first gen thermals, which aren't the best, but a very high pen Sabo round, over 330mm of 60-degree angle pen. Very, very powerful guns. Pretty decent. Well, it's a T72 reload, so not the fastest, but it's got good armor, decent mobility, and pretty good survivability as well in general. Top tier China. Both of these tanks are actually surprisingly good. I'd say they've got like NATO tank levels of mobility and survivability, as well as very good firepower as well. That firepower has increased up to... Oh, it's still the same gun, actually. I apologize. Well, these things are incredibly good. The ZTZ 99s, they have decent mobility, whereas the ZTZ 99A has fantastic mobility. This thing has the same... This is basically a prototype with a little bit longer gun. The VT4A, again, it's just the exact same, but with the... whatever it's called, the active protection system. I apologize, I forgot the name of that. Tor M1, again, very good. A defense vehicle, decent cars, decent planes as well. The Pastor Nation, again a little bit like Germans, a little bit hit and miss at the lower levels. The 3.7 is very good. You have the Panzer IV-G, the M4 Hybrid. You can up tier it to battle rating 4.0 for the Zarini and the Breeder. I'd still stick to 3 points. Maybe you can take the Turan as well, basically a Panzer IV but Hungarian. Yeah, it's up to you whether you go to 3.7 or 4.0. You can also go to 4.7 or 5.0. Again, it's kind of like the Chinese, where like all the battle ratings just don't really make sense. You can't really make a great lineup. I guess you can take the M18, the new Tigris, the Leopard 4070. That thing's still good at like 6.0. The M36B1 with its high explosive anti-tank stabilized round, that's very good as well. The M109G is very powerful. So 6.0 for the Italians is very good. And don't forget the R. Have I still got this skin on it? Yeah. Really don't know what I was thinking when I downloaded that. But yeah, 6.0 is very good for the Italians. The Italians don't really get good again until 9.0 arguably. If you're lucky enough to own this thing, this is very, very good at 9.0. As well as the tech tree version. You could go to 9.3 or 9.7. I usually use this thing with my VRCC as well as the OF40. It's got DM23, I believe. Sorry, I've got hiccups. Very good tank, very mobile, not the best survivability, no thermals, but a good gun, and it's very agile. 10.3, again, like many other nations, is incredibly strong. You get the Leopard 2A4, the Freccia, both of the Dardo class. You can take the Mistral, but I've not got it. The Ariete P, very, very strong. As well as all the Centauros, which are just very mobile. And they have DM33 as well for that added firepower. So 10.3 Italy, very, very strong. Top tier Italy though. If you saw the changelogs yesterday, they literally nerfed the Ariettes again. They made it even easier to kill them. So it's not really the best way to play War Thunder, in my opinion, the top tier Italians. So I'd stay clear of that. The Frenchies. So again, the lower tiers are a little bit hit and miss. I grinded the French a long time ago, and they've just added loads of new vehicles, and I've never been able to, well, I've never been asked enough to go back and grind them. Panther Delphine, very good, 6.0. These things both used to be, this thing used to be like 5. I think it was like 4.0 when it came into the game. It's a little bit lonely at 6.0. You don't really have any great backup. I think I used to use this thing, the E2, the Jumbo, sorry. The ELC Biss is again pretty decent, but not really the best turret rotation or fire rate. So while it is a good premium, it's a little bit lonely. 7.7 used to be very good, but then they put the AMX 50 to 8.0, so you can now face like Leopard 1A5s in this thing, or 1A1. You can face like modern tanks in this thing with doesn't have a stabilizer. Pretty stupid decision by Guardian in my opinion. Can still take out the AMX 1390 though at 7.7, as well as the 40T. The Char 25T has also been put up to battle rating for... It's gone up to 8.0 for some reason. Again, Guardian's method of increasing battle ratings on statistics is just dumb. It just doesn't make any sense. Again, why is this thing a tank from like the 1950s, I guess, fighting like 1980s vehicles? So after 8.0 or 7.7, you don't really have another battle rating until arguably 8.7, 8.3. They're not really the best though. You have the Mars, which is a little bit underpowered. The AMX 13 Hot is alright, but it's still only using sword shot. The SK105A2s, I can't remember what these are called or whatever the nickname is, I can't remember, but very, very good gun. Goes Sabo round with 200mm of pen at 60 degrees. The Mephisto is pretty good, however they nerfed the missiles recently. That leaves us with really top tier for the French, and the French aren't too bad. If you can see here though, the turret design is a little bit eclectic, don't really know what they were going for. So it's not really known as a very survivable tank, but it is very mobile, and it has a good gun with a 6-second auto-loader. Not the fastest, but it is still reliable, and of course you can't get your loader knocked out. The Swedish, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I love the 3.7 lineup. You have both these great premiums, as well as the T-34 and the Panther 4. After that though, really, you can basically just take your pick. 7.7 is pretty strong, the same as the British, because they're mainly using British vehicles. The SGRV 81, the IKV 91 is also pretty good. It has a heat-fest shell as well as a laser rangefinder. You can get one of the lowest battle rating vehicles with a laser rangefinder. Stay clear of this thing as well as all the other cheese wedges. Absolutely awful. This thing's pretty terrifying to go up against, but you can just shoot it in the turret and kill it pretty much instantly. Again, 10.3 is your friend here. The STRV 121, I guess, sorry. 2A4 as well. The Bill, the LKV, the STRV 9040C, all great vehicles at 10.3. Not to mention the CV 9105 and the vehicle from a couple of months ago. Top tier, Sweden is also pretty good. You have the 120, the ITV9. This is a very good anti-aircraft vehicle. The STRV 122 is very good, as well as a B plus added recently, as well as a Leopard 2A6. You do have the good cast actually. I got the Gripen in the last patch, very, very good. A nation that I wouldn't really recommend at all though is the Israelis. Top tier Israel is, it's alright. They got a really bad rate of fire for some reason. Even though these, I don't understand. This is 6.9 second stock. It's literally the same gun as the Abrams. I don't really know why. It's got such a low rate of fire. The shot caliber left though is a standout tank. It gets heat-fest on a Centurion. You still get the stabilizer, even though in real life it didn't get it. But let's not tell Guardian and make Israel even more unsufferable to play. You have all the firepower of like heat-fest, but in a well-protected and stabilized gun. Yeah, there's nothing really much else to say. Israel is not worth grinding whatsoever. That's why I got Guardian to give me those tanks. Yeah, if you're an American player, stay away from the M1A2s. And that's pretty much what I have to say, lads. I know this is a little bit of a rambled video, but just wanted to get that information out there. You can also buy this dragon box thing, which gives you like gambling. I spent quite a lot of money on it in the last hour. That's why I've lost all my money. My doggy is now shaking. Let's see what we get. Are we going to get something cool? Are we shit? Go on, give me the... Nah, 250 grand. Oh, nearly got the boarhound as well. Anyway, lads, with that anticlimactic event out of the way, I wish you all a very good grind. I'll probably see you in a match, so feel free to say hi. As always, thank you to my YouTube members, and I'll see you in the next video.